Hi my friends, today we are going to learn how to make bookmarks for planners, and these are the ones that we are actually going to create today. So these are for May 2020. I have a bookmark for each of my weeks, and then my today bookmark. So they are clear, transparent. I just wanted to show you some of the ones that I've done in the past. This was for August of 2019, and at the time I did a this week, a today, and a future. And then this was for December of 2019. And then, let's see, these were for, can't remember, September. I think these were September of 2019. And then these were for June of 2019. So I have been doing these for a while, and so today I'm going to show you how to make them and where to find the images to get the patterns and that sort of thing. And so I hope you enjoy this. And so let's get started. So to start this off, the first thing that I am going to do is I am going to go to Google Chrome or whatever your browser is. And if you don't already have transparency film, then you will need to purchase some. And I will put the link below for what I use, but this is the transparency film that I have purchased before. I bought it on July 27th. And I bought it because it was quick dry. I don't think it's particularly any better than anything else. I did get 50 sheets, and so you can get less than that for, it was $29.76. So if you want to pay less than that, there are other types that you could get 10 sheets or 20 sheets for less money if you want to try it out, if you're not sure that this is something that you're going to do. But I knew that it was something that I was going to do, so I went ahead and bought 50 sheets. So you'll need to do that before you can print them, but you could start and have them created. So if you purchase this, it's Prime, you should get it in a couple of days, and then you can have them ready to go once it gets here. So the next thing that you're going to do is we are going to go to Pixie, and I'll hit pixabay.com. So this is a website that has free images and free illustrations, and so they are generally copyright free. A lot of times they ask you to credit the person who created it. That's kind of hard to do if you're making a bookmark, so I don't think that really applies. And so what you will do here on Pixabay is I will give you the link to the image that I found that I decided to use, but you can also just go in here and really you could just go pattern, and it helps if you change your images up here to illustrations, because that will give you more of an idea. Now, so like this pattern right here, it's not very big, but that's okay because you can put them side by side, because if you look at the leaf right here and the leaf right here, they match up perfectly. They're called seamless patterns. And so you have to kind of look at them to get the idea. And so you can see this one, it doesn't match up, so it's not a seamless pattern. But like this one with the lighthouses, it does. And so that's an easy way. You can put in seamless pattern. And then like this one would have been perfect for March. I did not find that one when I was doing March because sometimes I don't really know what to look for. But we're also not looking for color at this point. It does not matter what the color is. If you like the pattern, then you can just use it. We will be able to change the color. Now, if you find something like this, it's going to be if you find something that's multicolored, it's going to be very difficult to change the color of it. But like if you found something like this and it's just two colors, You're still going to have to click on every one of those little things to change the color. So I would highly recommend finding something that's monochromatic. So I tend to go with, when I'm searching, I will put in black and white seamless pattern. And then that gives you all kinds of patterns. And so they start to look kind of like geometric, and especially like this one here, you feel like you're looking at an optical illusion. But you just need to kind of imagine it in a bigger setting, because we are going to repeat it and in a different color. So, so I know, I think I have the one that I found. I have Okay, so this is the pattern that I found. So you will just want to go to free download. Now it may ask you to create an account. I just tied mine in with my Google account. You can do that any way you want to, but you may need to create an account to download it. You may not have to. Um, I think you can download it at this level for free. I think I downloaded it at 1920 by 1920 um, because you want it as big as possible. And so if you want to do that one and you go to download it, you have to be logged in. So you will click download and save it to wherever you want to save it on your computer. So the next thing that we're going to do all of our things on the computer first. If you do not already have Silhouette software, we're going to be using Silhouette software. And Silhouette Studio is the software that you use with a Silhouette cutting machine. And so if you're thinking in the future you might want to get a Silhouette cutting machine, this is a great thing for you to start with, because you can learn how to use the software, which you'll need to use for cutting. But for this version, we're just going to use it just to print from. And the reason that I'm choosing that is because I want to make this in a way that anyone can do it. This software is free, and I tend to use Adobe software products, which are highly expensive, and I don't think all of you are going to have those products. So I want to use something that everyone could use. So, I will have this linked down below as well. And so you either want Mac or Windows 64-bit or 32-bit. If you're not sure, you'll need to Google how to figure out whether your computer is 64-bit or 32-bit. I think nowadays most of them are 64-bit, but I'm not sure. So if your computer is relatively new. But you'll just want to download one of those, and you'll click on this right here. Okay? The next thing that we are going to look and find, if you have a font that you want to use, or you don't care what fonts look like, I can't even imagine, but you don't need to download a font. But if you are like, oh my gosh, I like how people use all these pretty fonts, I don't know where to find them, that sort of thing. This, I will put this link below as well. Blog Pixie, this is from August 5th, 2017. So this blog has been out there for a while, this blog post. These are some really cute calligraphy fonts, and it has a nice little selection of them. If you don't like any of these, you do not have to use these. You can use whatever font you want. If you don't want calligraphy fonts, if you just want a straight up sans serif font, just use something on your computer. You can also go to Pinterest and type in free font download, and you will find a bazillion. And but I thought these were all pretty cute. So I picked Autumn in November. So if you like that font and you don't want to have to go to this font and find that font, because when you go to this blog post, the free fonts are listed here. So you have to click on each one of these to find it. And so when you click on that, well, I can just click on it there and it'll open it. It will take you to dafont.com. This is just, if you want to look at fonts all day long, this is your site. They have tons of fonts. And if you click here, it will take you to the main page for Dafont, and it has them sorted. It has recently added fonts. I think it also has like the top fonts. It's just it's just a rabbit hole of fonts. And so, if you didn't like any of the ones on the blog post that I showed you, you can look around a font for the rest of your life and find the one that you like. So after you've done that for 3 hours and you found the font that you want, I'm just going to go with Autumn in November. You will download it. Now on her blog post, if you have a PC, it will explain to you how to download and install the font. If you have a Mac, you will download the font, double click on the file once you've opened it, and it will pop up, and then you will double click on the font after it's expanded because it's a zip file, and then it'll say install, and you click install there. If that doesn't make sense and I blew through that too quickly, just Google how to install a font on a Mac if you need to install and you don't know how. So I got distracted there for a minute by those cute little sparkly boots. They're so cute. I thought they were like real boots, but it's jewelry. So yeah. Okay. So we have purchased transparency film. We have gone to Pixie. We have found a pattern that we like. We have downloaded Silhouette. We have found a font, and we are now ready to start with our project. Okay, we have one more thing that we need to do. We need to go to the Cocoa Daisy website and find an image, or if you know what colors you're going to use, if you're not doing this with Cocoa Daisy and you don't want to match something specific, or if it's somewhere else, go find whatever you want. So I am doing this for the Tulip Time kit, and so I am going to copy the image of the dashboards, and then we are going to open up Silhouette Studio, and we are going to come up here to File and Open, and I'm going to navigate my way to where I saved the image of the pattern that I liked. You can see I downloaded several patterns, so I am going to open up that pattern, which brings it up here, and at that point I'm going to hit paste to paste my picture of my dashboards there. So I've got this over here. So now before I get started with anything else, I'm going to take this picture of the mouse and the plus symbol, and I am going to drag it over the section that I want to zoom into, and I am going to go over here and pick my eyedropper tool, and I'm going to eyedrop that light blue, and then I'm going to eyedrop that bright yellow, and I'm going to eyedrop a red. That looks pretty straightforward, red. And then I'm going to eyedrop a dark blue. Okay, so now you can see I have the 4 colors that I have eyedropped are in this here. So if you click this button right here, that will take you back to the full window. So really, quite frankly, I no longer need my Cocoa Daisy image over there, so I get rid of it because I just like to have a neat area. So we have our pattern here. I am going to come over here to the trace tool, and then which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like a piece of toast to me. I think it's supposed to be a butterfly, but I always think it looks like a piece of toast. And you're going to click on Select Trace Area, and you are going to trace this pattern. And everywhere that is yellow, it is tracing, and everywhere that is gray, it is not tracing. And so you can adjust the threshold. If you adjust it up too high, you can see there's almost no delineation between the different parts of the pattern. It was on about 43, I think, which is about right. If you get down low, nothing's yellow, so it's not going to trace anything. So you want it to be, as close to right, and you can kind of look at it and see that looks fine. Probably anywhere between 10 and about 70 is fine for this actual image. Because it's so high contrasty with it being black and white, makes it really easy to trace it. So we are going to click on Trace Outer Edge. And so you can see now there's a red outline around all of the black. So if you click in the white space and drag the black and white pattern over to the left or the right, just get it away from the other one, and then click on it and press the delete button because we're now done with that one. So now you're going to come over here and click this. It's all grouped together, so that makes it easy. And we're going to change the color of it. So you can make it whatever color you want to, if you like that blue, or if you want it to be red, or if you want it to be yellow. I think I am going to choose yellow with navy blue writing. And that's just what I want my bookmarks to be. So they will be transparent where you don't see anything, and then they'll be yellow where you see this. So I have done this enough that I know that I want my bookmarks to be 2 inches wide, and then the image area of them is going to be 8.3 inches tall, and that's because I have an A5 planner. So if yours is not an A5, the height of yours will be the height of your sheet of paper and of the image part of it. So so I am going to reach in the corner here, and it keeps it constrained so that as you bring this down, it stays in proportion, and you can just drag it down until you get to mine either goes 2.12 or 1.945, and I want it to be exactly 2 inches wide just because I'm picky like that. So you're going to go over here to your Align tool or Transform, and then this part is aligned. You'll go to the second icon, which is Scale. You're going to want to click on the lock button because you want it to constrain proportions. Type in a 2 there. When you type in the next box, it's going to say 1.99, which is close enough. And hit Apply. Okay, so now I'm going to... It's weird how it jumps around on this. I've never had it do this before. It used to do little teeny tiny increments, and I'm not sure why it's doing that now, but I have a fix for it. Okay, so what we are going to want to do is, this is the width of our bookmark, but we want it to be way longer. So you could reach here and drag it down like this, but that looks horrible. And so I'm going to hit Command Z to undo. Remember, Command Z is your friend. If we printed this right now, those red lines would not show up. However, I don't like seeing them, so I'm going to go over here to my outline, and I'm going to change it to none so that it just looks yellow because it's just messing with my head. Okay, so then we are going to go over here to our Replicate, and I'm not sure. That one kind of looks like a butterfly to me, but it's not. I think it's a rotate kind of thing. So, and we are going to want to replicate a column of 4 down. And so that's going to give me, if I select the whole thing, now I have 7.996 by 2, and I need 8.3. So I need one more. So I'm going to click on that again, and I'm going to hit the duplicate button, and that's going to give me one more. The first button that I clicked on gave me a column of 4. So I now have 9.995 inches by 2 inches. So I'm going to go up here to the object, and I am going to group those so that they're just all one thing. Now at this point, if you decide, I don't think I want mine to be yellow, I think I want them to be navy blue, you can easily change them all right here because they're all grouped together and they're all filled with the same color. So we want, I'm going to have to do a little math here. So 9.995 minus 8.3. I want my height of this to be 8.3. So 1.695. Keep that number in your head. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to draw a box. I accidentally drew a very tiny box. So let me draw another box. Okay, so I want this box to be, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change the size of this box. Okay, so now on this one, I want my unlock aspect ratio because I want the width of my box to be 2 inches. And then let's go back over here to our calculation. I want the height to be 1.695. Okay. So I am going to change the color of this box to white. Okay, so now I just need to take, now I'm going to select both of them. You can click on one, hold down your shift key and click on the other, or you can just, as long as you touch both of them, you have selected both of them. And I'm going to come over here to our align tool, and I want to align them vertically at the bottom, and I want to align them horizontally together. So now I want the red line off of that one too. Okay, so now I have an area of my image that is 8.3 by 2 inches. So I'm going to select all of that, and I'm going to group that. I just like grouping things because if you don't, you could accidentally pick up some of it and not all of it. So I just like to do it that way so that they're all together and I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to zoom in just the width of I'm going to zoom in very closely. So just use the mouse tool with the plus sign and that zooms you in. And at this point, I don't know why this is jumping like that. Like it's only jumping by large amounts. And I don't know why it's doing that, but I have a workaround. So if yours is not jumping, you can just drag it so that we want the end of our image to be lined up with the grid mark, the larger grid mark. So I'm going to change this to 0.01, and I'm going to hit the down button, and I'm just going to continue that until I get it right about there. And there is fine. Okay, so now I'm going to click this button up here to zoom out and get the whole page. So what we want to do is, our image is the same height as our page, but you want your bookmark to stick up over the top of the page. So I generally make the overall height of my bookmarks 9 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to hold down my shift key with my line tool, and I'm just going to draw a line, and I'm going to draw it across the whole entire page. And I don't want it to be red because this red is not going to print, so I'm going to change it to gray, and I'm going to up it to, I don't know, 5 points, so you'll actually see it when you print it. Maybe 0.75 to make it a little. Okay, so your mark should be right here on this 9 grid mark. So I just drew the line, but I have to put it in the right place. So now when you print it out, you'll have a line at the top of your page. The grid mark will not show when you print, but that gray line will show, so that you will know where to cut the top of it, because I've done it several times, and I guess you can measure it on your trimmer, but I like having a line there. Okay, so we have our image for our bookmark. Now all we need to do is have the top part. So I make one bookmark for every week, and so this is week 18, which is what we start with. And I am going to go, I like to do my fonts over here because I don't have good luck when I go up here. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, and the name of this font was something about autumn in November. Okay, so, oops. So that is our font. And once again, I'm going to take the red outlines off of it, change it to nothing. There we go. And then I'm just going to make it smaller so that it fits. And I'm going to have to do this silly thing here with moving it to get it in the right spot. And it's a little too big. It will keep on moving. If you click on that several times, it'll move several times. There we go. Okay, that's about right. You can also click on this part, click on both of them. So you would select both of them. Oh, you don't want that line up there. Select both of these here. And you can go back up here to align and center them. And that's probably the safest thing to do. So that's what I want mine to be. I want them to have a yellow and a blue top. If the writing to be in blue. If this isn't the color that you want, you know, if yours didn't happen to just magically pop to the color that you wanted, just go over there and if you double click, it gets you in the box to select the type, and then come over here and change the color to whatever you want. So if I wanted it to be red, I would do that, and if I wanted it to be blue, I would do that. Okay, so at that point, I'm going to group this. You know what? I'm not going to group that because I'm going to have to change the week on every one of these. Okay, so I'm going to select this, both the word and the artwork, and the white box at the bottom are already grouped. And I'm going to go over here to replicate, and I want a row of 3 of these. Okay, so I just want to move these further apart than they currently are. And remember, don't get the line. You don't want to move the line. You just want to move the... Okay, so now I have 3 of these. So this would be week 18, week 19, week 20. Now, this one is not centered, so it needs to come back over here and align it again. And probably this one isn't either, but it's not as noticeable because 18 and 19 are about the same. It takes about the same width, but a 2 is wider than a 1, so you'll want to recenter that again. So at this point, I would hit File, Save As, and I want to save it to my hard drive. You can save it to the studio library, but I just like having it here. And I'm going to call this bookmark. I would normally call it bookmark 1, but I'm going to put an extra space in there because I tried this before I did the video, so I have an extra file. So I'm just going to call this bookmark 1. And it'll take it a minute to save. Generally doesn't take it this kind of time to save, so okay, there we go. So now at this point I would say Save As and Save to hard drive, and then I'm just going to change that to bookmark 2 and say okay. Wow. I feel like my life is passing in front of me waiting on this thing to save. Okay, so now I'm on bookmark 2. Okay, so I need week 21, and here I need week 22. And once again, I'm going to select those and center them, and select those and center them. Okay, so now I'm going to group these. You can also hit Control G to group them, but you can always go up here to, it won't let me group it now because it's already grouped. And if you ever need to know what the command keys are, it'll tell you Control G, or Command G, sorry. I'm on a Mac. If you're on a PC, it will still tell you. It just won't, the controls to group things are slightly different. Now, I know my printer will print way next to the, close to the edge of the paper. So, I am going to come back here and put these kind of close together. I don't want them overlapping, which is what they're kind of doing now. And so I probably need to change this to maybe 3. They don't seem to be moving. There we go. Okay. I need it to be far enough apart that when it's transparent, I can see where the break is because I need to know where to cut it. And so that little gap right there is pretty good. Okay, so then I am going to ungroup this one, and then I'm going to take the image part with the white, and I'm going to go back over here to the replicate tool, and I'm going to duplicate it this way. Now you see I don't have enough room there to do both of these, so I'm going to take these together because it's running into week 22. So I'm going to group them, and then I'm going to move them. Okay, that's probably about how far I'm going to move them apart. Okay, so I don't want it to print off the edge of the paper because you want to know exactly how wide it's going to be because you want your 20 to be centered in it. And, or not 20, this is going to say today. This is going to be my today bookmark. And I make the today bookmark wider so that by feel on the top of my planner, when I reach down, if I'm looking for a week, I know I can feel week 1, 2, 3, 4 because they're all the same width. But today, the today bookmark, I can tell which one it is because it's wider. And so just by feel, without ever having to look at my planner, I can very easily turn to today. I can turn to the first week, the second week, the third week, or the fourth week. And you guys, I do this all the time. So if you look right here very closely, the today, the Y is behind the artwork. I would prefer it to be in the front. So I'm going to go up here to arrange and bring to front. I don't think that really showed up on any of the other ones. It looks like the other one was in front. Okay, so let's zoom back out so we can see the whole thing. So we've got this issue over here. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pick white to start with. And I'm going to draw a rectangle. And I want it to be, and it's going to do the same thing that it was doing before. Okay, I'm going to make it kind of wide. You can see there's yellow sticking out on the edge. Okay. So I want it to come right about where that gray line is, because you see how it ends on an open thing here. I want it to have the exact same on both sides so that the pattern's perfectly centered on the bookmark. So to do that, because my Silhouette Studio is being so weird right now, I'm going to type in a 0.2 and I'm going to move this over. And I'm going to zoom in so that I can see both sides of this so that I can get a feel for. That looks about right to me. It's close enough. Okay, so you can't use this tool to center them because the white box covers up part of the thing. So you just have to look at it and go, okay, there's 1, 2, 3 of these, and there's 1, 2, 3 of these. And, oh, yeah, and I can't do that. And just move it over so that I have 3 of these little things sticking up on one side. And part of this is there's centered and then there's visually centered. So while there's a mark coming off of the T, that doesn't really count in your centering because visually it doesn't really count. because what your eye is drawn to is where the downstrokes of the letters hit. So that's kind of what I tried to center up there. Okay, so now we have our 3 bookmarks for, I have 5 weekly bookmarks. Let's open our other one. So we'll be using 2 sheets of transparency paper. So I have a week 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and a today. Most months you'll only have 4 weeks, and so this is very much easier on the second page because you usually have 1 week and a today. And so then you can make the today one an entire 4 inches wide. You don't have to do all of that drawing the white box on the side thing. So, but I have these here, and so now I can print them on my transparency paper. I just know with my printer, I print the transparency from the rear tray and I print it face up. If you are not sure which way your printer prints from wherever you're going to be printing it from, I highly suggest you take a piece of plain paper, write the word face up on one side of it, put it in your tray face with the words face up, and print something on it so that you can see, does it print face up or does it print face down? That's just an easy way to do it because you don't want to waste a piece of your rather expensive transparency paper trying to figure out which side it prints on. The transparency paper itself has a rough side and a smooth side. The rough side is the side that it prints on because it gives it a little tooth for the ink to stick to. And even though the brand that I purchase is quick dry, be careful not to touch it, especially if your hands are a little sweaty or a little moist or anything. Try not to touch where the ink is because it can smear, especially coming right out of the printer. It does take a little bit of time for it to dry. So I'm going to go print that, and then I will meet you at the laminator. Okay, so the next step that we are going to take is we are going to laminate. I have printed out my 2 different files. So here is the Bookmark 1 file. Sorry, it's kind of hard to pick up. You can't see this on film, but there is like a rough, gritty side to this clear transparency. And so that's the side that it printed on. And so I have 2 of them. I also have 2 sheets of 2 laminating pouches, and I use 10 mil. I will also link my the one that I purchased. I also kind of purchased this in bulk, so if you don't want that much, once again, I don't think the one that I purchased is like this fantastic sort of laminate. It's just laminating pouches, and they're 10 mil. There is hot air that comes out of this right here, so I can't lean this down, and it's difficult to put in. Maybe I'll lean across here and try to put it in over here. So you just get your laminating pouch in. Really, quite frankly, it doesn't matter if it hangs out. It doesn't have to be neat or anything because you've got your line there to line up, and it's going to fuse all the way through. So you do not trim this before you put it in the laminating pouch. You just put it in the laminating pouch like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one because right here, I don't know if you can see this on screen, but I'm at 337 degrees Fahrenheit. My laminator goes up to 340 degrees Fahrenheit, and so that's what I like to get it at, to use the 10 mil because I think it recommends 332, but there's always a little haze, and so I try to just get it as hot as possible. So we are at 340, so I am going to send this through. I've tried it both ways. I think that sending it through with the shortest side going through at the time, so sending it through portrait direction, works better for my laminator. It may not make any difference in the world for yours, but to get it as clear as possible. I will tell you that there is a little bit of cloudiness from the gritty stuff from the transparency, but it doesn't bother me. It's not enough to bother me, and you certainly don't notice it as you're using your bookmarks throughout the month.
And so it's very difficult to see, but if you can kind of see right now, you can kind of see, especially like right in there, there's a little bit of cloudy. So a lot of times I will take it and run it through twice, just in hopes that it might clear that up. But part of that, I think, is that gritty stuff when it melts in the laminate, because I don't think this transparency paper is exactly made to be laminated. I don't think anybody expected anybody to use it this way. So that did help it, sending it through the second time. So once I get this one out, I will do the other one, and I won't make you watch me laminate the second page because it's just about as exciting as watching grass grow. So I will do this one twice, and then we will come back and trim them up. Okay, so for the final part of our bookmarks, we are going to cut them and punch them and round the corners. So I have my 2 laminated sheets that I printed on transparency and laminated on 10 mil laminate. And I have my handy dandy trimmer, and this is my most sturdy of, I think I have 3 trimmers, and this one's pretty hardcore, so I'm going to use that one. I have done it on one of my other trimmers that's not nearly this nice, and you could also do it with an X-Acto knife and a straight edge if that's what you have. So, but this is what I have, so that's what I'm going to use. And I don't know if you can see it on film. There is some cloudy in it. No, I don't. Yeah, maybe you can if I get up really close. There's a little bit of cloudy in it. And so, like I said, I would like it to be perfect, but I don't notice it day to day while I'm using my planner. So to trim this, I start off with that, remember that gray line that we created right there? So I start off with that line, and I line it up on the edge and slightly past the point of where it's going to get trimmed. So I try to get it past it so that the gray line's not going to show, but even. So I'm going to have to put my head in here, so sorry, because I have to see it up close. Okay, that looks about even. So that's going to be my first cut. And so you can see I did not do perfectly. It's a little bit wider here than it is down on this end, but it's close enough, close enough. Okay, so, and now on this one, I will line up the yellow edge of the pattern. And you want to maybe trim off just a little bit of the pattern. Doesn't look like I trimmed off any of the pattern there, but it's right on the edge. So then I'm going to do the same thing. If you need to, you can flip it over so that, just make sure that you don't line it up on one of the edges of the laminate, because your piece of transparency paper is not square to your laminate unless you are the best at putting your laminate into the, oh, see, and I did horribly right there. See how much pattern you see there and how little pattern you see there? So mine is not square, and that's gonna bug me. So I'm gonna go back and look at my pattern and try to get it. Well, you know what? Oh yeah, I can see it by looking at it that it's not square. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this one in here this way and trim that. And then I'm gonna go back, now that I have that. Oh yeah, I can see. And I'm gonna trim off the bottom. Now, I will make an adjustment for this because this one's going to be probably 1/8 of an inch too short because of this piece that I've just trimmed off there. So it'll be just a little short on the bottom, which won't matter whatsoever. Maybe not the worst, but close to the worst. Okay, so I'm gonna throw my stuff away over here. All right, so now what I have are, and that's an extra piece. Week 18, week 19, week 20 is really skinny, week 22. And I may go back I'm just going to let it be what it is. Week 20 got trimmed really closely here. I'm telling you that I might redo these. I don't know. We'll see. Might be fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, sorry, let me get these up here. Okay. I'm going to round the corner on all of these. So I think I got this corner rounder at Hobby Lobby. And you really want to do this because otherwise these points right here are enough to kill you. Okay, I have all my weeks and my today, and all of my corners are round. And so now what I'm going to do is punch the holes in them, and then they will be ready to go. I can tell you that this hole puncher is, oh, I want to make sure. Let me look at all these because I had such weird wonky trimming things. Let me look at all of these together and see what the difference in height is, because I want them all to kind of sit the same. Okay, so they kind of vary in height. That one's really tall and that one's really short. Okay, so if I put this one in here, it's gonna stick up. I'm gonna push it down just a little bit. So I'm gonna push this one that's really tall down just a little bit and start with that one. I'm gonna have to stand to do this. Oh, okay. So my hole puncher gets really wonky doing this. So I'm gonna do this once and I'm gonna let you watch me struggle with it, and then I will speed it up. So I punch it, and then if I hear that little click, usually that means I can get it out, but it gets stuck. And did you hear that noise? So then it finally comes out. So there's my week 18. So I will do that for the rest of these, but let me do the today one first. Sorry, you get to see my whole head there. And I'm gonna hope that that comes out. Sometimes I have to punch it back down again. It makes all sorts of clicky noises, then it comes out. So for the today one, this is the only one that I do this to because the rest of them stay in the same place. I just come over here with a big pair of scissors and I cut just a little notch so that you can stick it in and out of the rings. And you can see I always get those little marks over there. I try not to. I never notice them once the month is going. I notice it when I'm creating these things, but I never notice it because it's over in the rings. And so I just do that little trim on every one of the holes. Now, if you have a disc planner, a happy planner, or some other sort of disc system, you could totally punch these with a disc punch. I have a Levenger punch that is like heavy duty, that would definitely punch these. I don't know about the small ones. I know that this punch right here, it takes about everything that it has. So, yeah, so I'm just going to keep on punching and trying to get them back out of the punch. And if any of y'all know of a really good A5 punch that works better than this one, let me know. I'm a sucker for gadgets, and I really like the good ones, and so I don't really have lots of things that I like for gifts, so I usually ask for these ridiculous items for my birthday or for Christmas. And then I have kind of like my laminator, which is kind of hardcore and industrial. So that's all you have to do to make. There we go. They're all out. All right, so they're all made. So now I have my week 19, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. The week 21's cut off a little bit right there, but I'm not going to worry about it too much because you're just not going to see it in my planner. Nobody's going to notice it. And quite frankly, like I said, I use them by feel. So my bookmarks are done. I do not even have my kit yet for May, and my bookmarks are done. So if you'd like to try this project, let me know how it works for you. Let me know if you have any questions. And I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please comment below and subscribe. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.